What's up guys, my name is Ozzy and I show you guys how to save money when building computers. So if you want to build a gaming computer for around $400, then you're in luck, this video is for you. But this time we're working with Micro Center to make it happen. So that means that we could potentially save $50 or so just by going in store and buying with them. You guys know me, I'm cheap. There's a way to save money, I'm gonna do it. So without any further ado, to Micro Center we go. Micro Center is one of my all-time favorite stores for a number of reasons. A, they're one of the few computer hardware stores out there, including makerspace products like Raspberry Pis. B, their store associates are super cool, so thanks Josh for taking me around. And C, their in-store deals are absolutely insane. Here are a few of them. New customers can receive a free 256 gig SSD and no purchase is necessary. That already saves you like 20 to 30 bucks. Right now they're running a Ryzen 5 plus Wi-Fi motherboard combo for only $125. If you want similar performance, it will cost you at least $35 more somewhere else. During March, Micro Center is hosting Monitor Madness, a very fitting name, by the way, with lots of monitor deals, like this curved 1440p HP monitor for only 200 bucks. Plus, some monitors are as low as $80 brand new. And finally, if you submit your PC build to their Build Showcase program, you get a $25 in-store coupon and verification. No purchase is necessary. Saves you even more money. So lots of stuff is happening at Micro Center, and thankfully they're adding 3 stores by 2025 to share the love with everyone else. Needless to say, I was a very happy boy after my trip to Micro Center. Without any further ado, let's see what $400 can get you, and in classic OzTalks fashion, let's build it calmly. So first up, we have the Ryzen 5 3600, and this is still such a solid entry-level CPU. And one of the main reasons why I bought it, besides it being a really good competitor in this price range, is because of the motherboard. So Micro Center is doing a deal where you can get this CPU and this motherboard for only $125 total. And the next cheapest option with around this performance is going to be about $160. So you actually save a lot of money and you don't risk losing any kind of major performance. Plus, you have an awesome upgrade path to a 16-core CPU in the future, or the iconic Ryzen 7 5800X 3D. Now, as for memory, I just got a decent looking kit of 16 gigs of DDR4 memory. It has a frequency of 3200 megahertz and a CAS latency of 16. And essentially, that falls under the category of good enough. $41 looks pretty good, and it's compatible. Can't really ask for much more. For $45, I picked up a 1TB M.2 NVMe SSD. Now, M.2 is a smaller form factor, which is really nice. So that means you don't have any wires or cables. It goes straight into your motherboard. So try to pick that up if you can. Now, there is a 500 gig model that's about $30. And if you are a new customer at Micro Center, then you can get a free SATA SSD, which will save you money and give you storage. Everything will be powered by this PowerSpec 650 watt power supply that I picked up for $65. It does what I need it to do, provides ample power, and really any decent 450 watt power supply or higher will work fine for this computer. Now there is a 500 watt PowerSpec model for $50 that will work just as well as this one, and it saves you a noticeable amount of cash. So consider that as well. And now for my favorite part of the build, and one of the main reasons why I actually built this $400 computer, it's the video cards. New cards under 150 that are actually decent are hard to come by right now, and these will be your fastest options. So we have the RX 580 2048 8 gig, and then the RX 5500 XT 8 gig. These will run you $100 to $140 depending on the exact model, and the RX 580 is about 15% slower than the 5500 XT, but it can be overclocked, which I'll show you how to do, and it will make up for that difference. These also come with warranty, and you're buying them off Amazon, so that gives you a little bit of peace of mind. And lastly, all of this is going to fit inside our case, the Thermaltake Versa H18. It comes with tempered glass, it has good airflow, and it's affordable, only being $50. I actually used it in my previous calming PC build, and there's a reason why I'm using it again. It's just the best option in this price category. Now you can save $5 by getting the H17, but you lose a ton of features And I think the $5 is just worth it. So here I'm gonna lift up this lever, and I'm gonna grab the CPU by its sides so I don't touch the delicate pins underneath. I'm gonna line up Ryzen. So the Y, the bottom of the Y should be facing this way. We want Ryzen to be in the same orientation as socket AM4. Should just fall right into place. So this is the CPU cooler, and I'm gonna have the AMD logo facing this way, so we're not blocking any of the memory slots on the motherboard. First, we need to unscrew the current heatsink backplate mechanism. Now we're gonna plug in the CPU fan. Should say CPU fan on it, but that's where I plugged it in. Okay, next we're gonna install our RAM. So here we're going to unclip the second and the fourth RAM slots. And there's a notch right here that will line up with the notch in your memory. You push on both ends and then it should just click. It's actually really, really satisfying. And now if you have an M.2 SSD, like we do, that'll be the last thing we install on the motherboard. Look how cute it is, it's so small. So this is the M.2 slot. It's going to stick in like that into here, and then we're going to screw it down on this end. This was on the motherboard, right on the M.2 screw hole. So just unscrew it and then screw on top of the SSD. And if you want your build to look really cohesive, you can actually buy an M.2 heatsink with the color of your choice, and it'll match the style of your build. But for now, we're just gonna keep it like this. Awesome, so the motherboard is basically done now. We can go get our case and start installing everything. So first thing I always recommend doing is putting in the motherboard IO plate, because you will forget, because you have to take the entire motherboard out to put it back in. And the motherboard is going to go in, oops, like this. This is how it's going to sit in the case. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's install our power supply and then prep the case. So all the necessary screws you need will come with the case itself, so you don't have to worry about that. So these cables are necessary for you to use the front panel on your case. So all the USB ports up here, and then any kind of headphone jack ports, microphone ports, these plug into your motherboard, and once they're plugged in, all of those will activate. What I want to do first is actually put the motherboard in without installing it and screwing it in, and then kind of see where all the ports are. And then once I see where the motherboard ports are, I will route these cables accordingly. So this fits right here. So here we have USB 3, front panel is all here, and then we have audio right here. So it looks like we want them to come out from the bottom holes. So audio will come out from the bottom left hole, the left, my left, where I'm facing, and then everything else will come out of this bottom right hole. Sweet. And then now I have a case fan right here. Okay, so case fan right here. I don't see another one, so it looks like the case fan is going to go right here, so we're good. We don't really have to route that one. So now we have the power supply. We're going to install it at the bottom here. So you want the power supply fan facing downward so we can pull air from the bottom. All right, power supply is installed. Now we can start routing cables. Move these out of the way for now. So motherboard fits in here approximately. So we have our CPU power up here on the top left. So we're gonna plug it in here, route a cable through that hole. We have our motherboard power right here. So we're gonna route a cable through that hole. Then we'll eventually have our video card cable. So we can either route it through this hole right here, or we can route it through the bottom, whichever one we prefer. And then that's basically it. Those are all the cables we have to route. We don't have to route any storage cables because we already have our M.2 SSD installed. So let's route those cables, install our motherboard, and then power it on. CPU cable, routing it top left. This is our LED power. So we can actually plug this in to one of these connectors here, and then everything else we can just tie back together and then store in our power supply basement because we just don't need it. Okay, so now that the case is prepped and ready to go, we can actually install our motherboard. So let's do that. We're gonna line up the motherboard holes with these standoffs. It's like a standoff is right here. It's just sticking out of the case. And these have the standoffs that we need pre-installed. So now we're gonna screw in the motherboard using the motherboard screws. You can check the case manual to see which is which. Thankfully, this actually has some helpful labels on the plastic bags themselves. Okay, so now we have the video card. And right here, we have the video card cage, I like to call it. And this is what holds the video card in place. Well, it helps hold it in place. So we're gonna unscrew this on the end. And then we're gonna take our video card of choice, either the RX 580, 5500 XT, pretty much any modern video card will work here. And then we're gonna line up the PCIe slot with the PCIe slot down here on the motherboard. We're going to see which one of these IO slots we actually have to remove. So 4 on the end, right here, and I need to remove the second and the third one from the top. Cool, so now we plugged it in. Let's screw it into place. Let's see, will this reach? I hope it reaches. So the PCIe cable we're gonna plug into the video card, just like that. So we're all plugged in. So before we actually finish up, tie up all of the cables, make it look all pretty and dandy and all that kind of stuff, let's plug it in and see if it actually turns on, because that will be very important. Plug you in. Good job, it's working. And the LED on the front is on too. Looks pretty good. So after you know that everything's working, don't forget about the final finishing touch, which is the Wi-Fi antenna. You need these, otherwise Wi-Fi won't work. Yeah, there you go. Let's go see what it can play. Gaming on the machine was great and even better after overclocking the video card. And I'll have a write-up on my website on exactly how to do that, specifically the RX 580. At 1080p, you'll easily average over 120 FPS in esports like Smite and Rainbow Six Siege, and that will definitely translate to older games like CSGO and newer games like Valorant. The PC also plays newer titles if you have the right expectations. Cyberpunk, New World, and even Hogwarts Legacy were very playable and enjoyable. You can even crank down the settings a little bit and squeeze out even more frames for a smoother experience without sacrificing visuals all too much. Overall, this is a solid computer. You don't have much to worry about when it comes to gaming. I'm really satisfied with this computer. It performs well. It has a solid upgrade path. It looks good. I mean, it's not like you're sacrificing aesthetics here for value, really. And then it's really affordable, especially if you use the Micro Center deals available. Now, there are some downsides. One, we are using older parts like the RX 580, and we are on a dead platform technically. So there won't be as long of support as if we were using newer parts or a modern, currently supported platform. And the last one really comes down to value. For $100 more, you can still build that $500 PC from November and it still works phenomenally. The parts are in stock around the price that I listed them for, and it's gonna give you noticeably better performance than this one. So if you can save up, I recommend doing that. But if you can't, this is still a solid option and you can always upgrade. As always, thank you guys again for watching. If you liked it, leave a like. If you loved it, share, subscribe. Thank you again to Micro Center for making this happen. Without them, it wouldn't be possible. So definitely check them out if you can. And look out for any expansion details because they might be coming to your city within the next few years. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.